Welcome everyone to another fun-filled episode of Open Mic with the MVP Marco. I am, of course, your host, the MVP Marco, and I do have a very special guest this time around. That's all I do have is guests on the show. If you've listened to it for, I think this is the 33rd episode of this young program. So if you're still around listening to it, I thank you. If you the first time listening to it, I still thank you. If you stop listening to it, I still thank you for listening for the time that you did. I mean, hopefully it was enjoyable enough for you to spread the word a little bit. But before we get into my guests, we're gonna talk about the Pod Foundation, in the collective minds that make up that group. It's the Chick Foley Show, which I'm a part of, as well as Turnbuckle Tavern, which I'm also a part of. I do a show called The Raw Down every Tuesday at 9 p.m. live on Patreon. We talk all things WWE. I say we because that brings me to the next show, coming down the aisle with J-Bone. He is my partner on The Raw Down, but he has his own separate podcast you can definitely listen to. And then last but not least, the Extra Cooler Show with Extra Cooler, Nick, Matt, and the rest of the gang. They go for the more nostalgia type of wrestling. Definitely check it out. Obviously, check out all their IG pages, and let's check out mine if you want to as well. I post a lot of wrestling stuff, and not so much for myself. I do post some pictures, but I'm getting there. I'm trying to get more more personalized on there. But enough about me. But before I get to my guests, chickfoley.com is where you'll find everything, all the shows that are affiliated. This show, Open Mic, the Goal Line, as well, the sports oriented show, sorry, with Seth and Jordan, and as well as the Chick Foley show, the flagship show. But yeah, let's get to my guest. So this next person is, like I said, I always have talented people on the show, more talented than I'll ever be, more creative than I'll ever be as well. But yeah, this person, I mean, does literally everything: art, baking, cosplay. She seems very fun as well. I mean, she's probably a great person. We're about to find out how great of a person she is. So I'm going to bring her on. Marge, how are you?
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, so quick background. We kind of talked a little bit off air, but I did find your page through the Macho verse, because he commented on one of your when you scroll through, they suggest accounts that you might like. So I seen that, and I seen a comment of his. It was a video of the retro WWF ring with the Macho Man figure that was obviously edible, that you took a bite of, and from there I was just like, all right, this is pretty amazing. And yeah, I was very impressed by what you offered there. So how did let's talk about that, because I brought up the video. How did that whole video come about?
Well, first of all, Machoverse, great dude, love him. We know each other from Instagram, and there's a cosplay community, and we only just met like a couple months ago. But
Yeah.
He's a great dude. He's always supporting me, so I appreciate him a lot. So I'm a cake decorator. That's my 9 to 5, my actual career. So that's what I do professionally. And it's my passion, but also wrestling is my passion. So I can count on 2 hands how many wrestling cakes I've gotten to make, like at my job, like 4 customers. Like that's how many people order wrestling cakes. So it's kind of like I use making cake content on Instagram as a way to do the cakes that I want to do. Because I don't get to make many like wrestling related cakes at my job. So I use that as an outlet for things that I'll probably never get a chance to make at work. And so, the everything is cake or is it cake craze blew up online, now on TikTok and stuff. And I realized like nobody was doing wrestling related stuff. So, being in my line of work and having wrestling as like one of my favorite hobbies. I decided to jump on that, and I was like, I got to be the one to corner this niche market.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's awesome. Like I said, definitely if you go on her Instagram pages, other cakes, which definitely want to talk about a little bit later, the VHS collection, which kind of blew my mind. I was showing my friend yesterday. I was like, oh, I'm doing another interview tomorrow, and I showed him your page and stuff, and I showed him the video. He was like, holy, he's a huge wrestling fan, obviously. And he was like, holy crap. He was like, wait, he was like, is one of those? And then as the video went on, you seen like the rest of them were kicking. He was like, that's amazing. He was like, I need that done. I was like, well, maybe reach out. Maybe she'll do one for you. But no, that's but just we'll get into the wrestling part of it. So when did you get into wrestling? When did the captivating sport that I love, that we all love so much, actually, like how did you get pulled into the crazy world of professional wrestling?
One of my earliest memories of wrestling is watching WCW, and
Mm,
in particular Chris Jericho. And I'm
okay.
pretty sure he's the reason I got into wrestling. I imagine my theory being that I like stumbled upon Nitro one night when I was flipping through the channels, and I saw like what I thought was like the sexiest man on the planet, and pretty sure I was hooked after that. And yeah, he became like he was my favorite wrestler of all time, honestly. So yeah, my childhood kind of revolved around him, and I followed him when he debuted in WWF, and I grew up on the Attitude Era and all that.
So the Ayatollah of rock and roll was your introduction
Oh
to
yeah,
I mean my
Corazon de Leon.
yeah, I mean there's a reason why he's called that. I mean he's a good looking guy. He was, I mean, especially back, he said in the WCW. I think a lot of I think he probably pulled in a lot of the females, the female viewership in WCW at the time. Obviously, he had,
I think
he had
so.
NWO, you had, big sexy Kevin Nash, you had
Oh yeah,
Scott Hall, like the cool guy. So, but he was like kind of like he had the long flowing blonde hair and stuff like that. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
He had
my
like a
sister in law.
flowing lion's mane.
Yes, yeah, my
Yeah,
sister in
I'm
law
pretty
back in the
sure in
day.
Love at First Sight. I think
Yeah.
he's like the reason I have this thing for blonde guys, you know?
But my sister in law was a huge back in the day. She was a huge fan of Chris Jericho as well, and I believe for the same reasons you are. You're a fan of him as well. And after that, what was it? Did you transition from WCW to like anything else, or was it full on WCW and then to WWF, or did you watch any ECW in between then?
Yeah, I watched some ECW, but yeah, not much. I think like a big part of me watching wrestling actually is like my parents were so opposed to it, and so
Mm.
like, I think I like liked it more because they were like, you shouldn't be watching this. But I think yeah, I think ECW was a little too much for them, so I didn't get into too much of that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely watched that in between. But mostly I was WWF kind of gal.
Nice. Was there anyone else besides like, Chris Jericho that you were a huge fan of? In either one, WWF or WCW?
Yeah, I would say my favorite tag team of all time was the Hardy Boys.
Okay.
And favorite female wrestler of all time was Lita.
Okay.
So yeah, that
I'm
was
seeing a pattern here.
yeah.
Um no, they're one of my, I always put, I mean, I'm a Dudley Boys fan. That's my favorite
Oh
tag
yeah.
team ever. But it goes, for me, it goes like a lot of people would say Road Warriors, and they're usually the top, like the number one. But I was a Dudley Boys guy. Second was
Mm,
the Hardy Boys for me. And if I have to go third, it will definitely be like Legion of Doom / Road Warriors. But
mhm.
they were always my. I love the Hardys and the Dudleys, especially obviously you've watched all the you've seen all the matches that they've had. I mean, they're
All the
all,
TLCs.
yeah, pretty much a
Yeah, I
blueprint for
think
what you see nowadays.
yeah, the Road Warriors and Legion of Doom, they were a little like before I got
Yeah,
into it. So yeah, what I know of them is what I watched like later on in life. So
yeah,
yeah,
with
it was
the
the time period. Yeah, Chris Jericho, Hardy Boys, they were on top. So
oh
they
yeah,
heavily
definitely.
influenced my childhood.
Did you when you seen the debut of how excited were you for the debut of Chris Jericho in the WWF? And did you actually see that debut happen live?
Yes, I was watching it
Okay,
at the time, and like,
awesome.
I was like, yeah, I have a feeling it's Chris Jericho, because they were doing all the lead up to it and the vignettes and whatnot. And I was
Yeah,
like, I have a feeling. And then the countdown came on, I lost it.
I was very close to buying on eBay that they sold the shirt on WWE Shop back in the day, the sparkly shirt, like the shirt that he wore that
Oh
looked like
yeah.
a like a disco globe. They have it on I'm not sure if it's still on eBay. Someone had it up there. I was really close to buying it. It was like $300 or $400 they were gonna do, but
Damn.
I was like, damn, I kind of want it just because it's they don't make it anymore, and I was definitely gonna wear it at some point. Not sure what occasion, but I probably would
Hey,
wear it at
why
some
not?
point.
Well, funny story. I actually made that shirt myself. Like I sewed it
Oh,
because
really? Oh,
yeah,
man.
because I was going to a show one time and he was going to be there, and so I was like, all right, I need a special shirt just for the occasion. So I
Oh,
found like the
damn.
perfect fabric and made my own Chris Jericho shirt.
Oh, that's awesome. Did it come out the way you wanted it, or was it?
Oh yeah, it was great. I wish I had it on hand, but right now it's in the attic. I would show you.
Do you have any pictures of it, or like, did you post it on your IG yet? I don't know. Maybe that's an idea. Maybe if you have anything,
I
you post it.
I'll send it to you, but I posted it a long time ago,
Oh,
but it was
nice.
on my original Instagram account. I don't know if you
Okay.
know that my old one got deleted.
I think I did see. Yeah, I think I did see you posted something like that. What happened? Did someone like? Was it like a? What happened to it? Was it like a guideline thing? Was it just
Uh,
someone?
Funny story. It was a little legal issue because
Hmm,
I was making art like that, I guess infringed on intellectual
okay.
properties. So,
Yeah.
yeah, got hit too many times, and a certain corporation got my Instagram deleted.
I
So that's
I'm very. I mean, not to get to that type of talk, but like when it comes to, I think when it comes to art and your own interpretation of it, it shouldn't. I don't think it should be, pigeonholed to something like that. It should be. It's your expression of what that thing is and what it looks like, and
mhm.
I don't think it should be. I mean, that's kind of like BS and when they do that type of stuff.
I think
For,
so
to me
too.
personally, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not when I make merch, I'm not, taking people's pictures and slapping them on a t-shirt.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
draw everything I do from scratch. I guess even drawing a wrestler in my own art style is
yeah,
crossing the line, but
yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
it's
I think it's
I've seen.
BS too, but I think, little artists like me they know we're not going to fight back. We don't
Yeah,
have the time or money to, so whatever. I just got to tread way more carefully now than I did before.
yeah. Like I said, I've seen plenty of different artists out there. Not to name anybody, but I've seen tons of artists with different interpretations of stuff, and I've never seen anyone get their like pages taken away or anything like that. So I think it was probably like one of those like perfect storm deals or bad situations where
I
they
do
just like
know a lot of artists that also got their stuff taken down or their
yeah,
pages
that's
deleted. It's
there are, and I still see some that are still going strong. But well, like I
yeah.
said, that's another conversation for another time. But
Hmm.
I mean, since we're speaking about art and stuff like that, when did you start? When did you start your artwork? Like when did you start drawing? How did you get into it?
I've always been into art, like ever since I was little. I've just been really good at drawing. I think it's genetic. Like my whole family are like great artists.
Yeah,
They're like digital illustrators or architects or painters or interior designers. It's like kind of
jeez,
runs, yeah, kind of runs in the family. So yeah, ever since I was little, I in art class, like I would just recreate stuff. They'd put up a picture and we had to copy it, and then I'd like copy it like 1-for-1
yeah,
ratio.
wow, jeez,
And yeah, and I don't know, I never really like did much with it. My parents didn't really want me to do anything with art. I'm Filipino, so I don't know, like it's one of those really true stereotypes that you're expected to become a nurse or a doctor.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter if you like have a passion for something, it's just you got to do what makes the money. So my
Yeah.
parents were the same way. They didn't ever want me to do art. And yeah, they never really encouraged me to like get trained in it or do
Yeah.
anything professionally. So when I wanted to go to art school for college, and yeah, they were not really they didn't really motivate me to do it, and they were yeah, they kind of didn't yeah, just kind of talked me out of it.
Mm.
So yeah, didn't do that, even though I wish I had. But you know, I got a bullshit degree that I don't use now. So
Yeah.
eventually, yeah, eventually I started watching shows like Cake Boss and all those cake competition shows when they were
Yep.
really popular at the time. And I just started doing stuff at home, baking and decorating and like making cakes for family and friends. And then I was like, I kind of want to do something with this. And I went to pastry school. So I
Okay.
graduated from pastry school and I got a job being a cake decorator when I lived in New York. And yeah, just took off from there. Like I figured out that I was really good at this thing, and it sucks because if I had, you know, really focused on making a career out of art, I would have realized it sooner.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of time was wasted not honing my craft because, like, you know, I wasn't really encouraged to do it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's really paid off now.
I mean, I would say, I mean, things, things happen for a reason too. That's another thing I say. It's never too late. You hear that term a lot
Mhm.
nowadays. It's never too late to, start whatever your passion is or go for whatever you feel like you can go for. And I think, I mean, it's to me, I look at it as a positive side. Like it's the right time. You actually were
Mhm.
able to pursue it and actually do it. That's better than not, just sitting back and saying, what if, or I never did this, I should have did this. You kind of have those regrets. But I want to kind of like go back a little bit.
Mhm.
What was that journey like when you know when you started doing it, you're like really excited about doing it, and then like your parents are like, nah, I don't think this is a thing. Like, how did that journey look like, to actually, go and I am gonna do this. This is something. Was it obviously, I don't want to say it was a hard journey, but like was it obviously bumpy roads ahead? How did that look when that kind of like um the parents are like, no, we really don't want you doing it, but then did that discourage you at all? Did that slow down the process, or did you just go, I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing?
It definitely like slowed me down a little bit, but I did, you know, I have a degree in a bachelor's in sociology, and like I didn't do
Yep.
anything with it. It was just because I wasn't passionate about it. And
Yeah.
you know, when I started doing like baking and decorating, I like really enjoyed it, and that's when I was like, I feel like I can, you know, prove them wrong and actually do something with this. So that's when I was really adamant about going to pastry school. And I, you know, I finished and uh like I ended up getting an internship and then I got promoted pretty quickly to lead cake decorator. So like obviously it was something I was really good at.
Yeah.
And there is still pushback to this day, right, from my parents. So it's
Really?
still just yeah, it's really discouraging, but you know, I'm not gonna stop. Like I know this is what I'm good at and
Yep.
uh it's what makes me happy. Although that's the big thing with them. They're like, it's not about what makes you happy. It's about what makes you money, gets you
Yeah. Yeah.
benefits,
Yep.
and gets you like social security and shit. So they don't like really understand. It's like actually enjoying what you do.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah, I try every day to like show them that this is you know what I feel like I'm meant to do. I've been on like a couple shows for cakes, and even then they're like, "Oh, we're proud of you." But to this day, my mom's still like, "I'll send you to nursing school if you want."
like, geez.
I'm like, Mom, I've been doing cake decorating for so long, and I've made it this far, and you want me to just drop it and still become a nurse? I'm like, you're crazy.
I was at that was actually my my next topic was you made a lot of appearances How did that come about? Where'd you get the were you recognized, or did you pursue uh that type of thing to get on like TV and stuff like that?
It kind of just happened organically. Like I actually was I was featured on Sci-Fi. They did like a fan creator mini doc series,
Mm.
and that I actually had a connection through Tumblr actually back in the day
Okay.
when
Wow.
Tumblr was big.
Old
Yeah, I
school.
would yeah, I know. I would post like nerdy cakes and cookies and whatnot. And yeah, one of my followers actually referred me to a guy he knew in the television business, and yeah, they were filming the mini docs, and it was about different artists, like different mediums that
Yep.
focused on pop culture fandoms. So I was
Mhm.
the only one that actually like made cake. So that was pretty cool. They they came into my job, and they wanted to have me, you know, make a cake on camera and all this. So I made a Cubone skull cake because they wanted something really nerdy
Yeah.
to showcase. So there was that, and then I was on what is it called? Oh, Eye Candy, which was supposed to be on Quibi, but ended up on the Roku channel. But that was somebody I knew was who was also a cake decorator from my old
Yeah.
job. She told me about it, and she's like, "We need another decorator, so you should come on with me." And I did. It was like a behind the scenes thing, but that was really fun. It was making realistic cakes that people had to, you know, guess what was a real object and what was cake. And then actually with the same friend, I did Foodtastic on Disney Plus, and that was
Oh.
yeah, it was like Disney themed food sculptures. It wasn't necessarily cake, but you know, we did a lot of cake stuff. And so we had to like recreate a Toy Story scene that was like larger than life. So that
Oh,
was
that's
fun.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, well, I actually I didn't watch it. I did see that on Disney Plus. I'm definitely gonna have to watch that now.
Oh, was
That's
that
pretty
before
awesome.
you even knew about me?
Yeah, yeah, that's even before I. Yeah, I was like I said,
Okay.
like I said, I seen you through like on my Insta, because I obviously I follow a lot of like a lot of cosplayers, a lot of like obviously like nerdy stuff. Obviously being a wrestling fan, so and that's how you like I said. I think you were like a suggested account, and
That's
then I
so
was like looking
funny.
through your I was looking through your stuff, and then I seen like I said the Machoverse commented on. I think he commented on the retro ring that
Mhm.
you did, and I was like oh if, I was like if Machoverse is like knows about her, then she has to be like she has to be cool at least. That's what
I
I
hope
reached
so.
out to you. I was, and then that was as I was going through your stuff, I seen like I said the VHS tapes that you did, and it was going through some other stuff. The Raw 25 cake was pretty awesome as well.
Yeah.
Um, and then I seen like all the all the wrestlers you met and things like that, and the cosplay,
Mhm.
and I was like, all right, I was like, I definitely need to the reason why I like created the show was like I really whenever I follow somebody, especially when it comes to like wrestling, cosplay, that type of stuff. I'm really interested in like how they started it, what their process
Mhm.
looks like, that type of stuff. So um, that's why I started the show pretty much. And like I said, you pretty much fit every category. You do art, you do cosplay, you love wrestling.
I try to do too many things at once. It's a
No, but
blessing and a curse.
the thing is, I mean, you're good at all the things too, as well. Like,
Thank you.
we'll get into the well, I mean, there's so many things we can get to, but actually, you know what? I'll get into the pins, the enamel pins. Where did that idea come from to start through that? Was that before the cakes, or did that come after doing the cakes?
It was actually after I had started doing cakes already. So I have a friend named Jeff Cinco. He's a pin maker on Instagram too, fairly
Yep.
well known. And he actually suggested I start doing pins. So it was really him that got me into it. Because he had a pin manufacturer, and he's like, "You want to order with us? We'll get them cheaper if we do a bulk order."
Yeah.
So he got me into it, and I started off pretty slow. Just doing like I only had like a couple designs at a time. But at the time, like there was only a handful of wrestling pin makers.
Yeah.
Uh, especially like I think I was the only female pin maker in the wrestling community at the
Oh
time.
wow.
Yeah, like there were so few makers that we had a group chat on Instagram, and there was like maybe 10 of us. we
Oh
would
wow, geez.
Yeah, we would also always discuss like, oh, I have this in the works, so that we made sure nobody else was already doing it because we didn't want to step on anybody's toes or anything. So yeah, it was a great little community. So yeah, at the time I started off slow. I had the Bloody Becky Lynch pin. I don't know if you've seen it before. After she got her nose broken
Yes.
or
The broken
punched.
nose, yep.
Yeah. And so I made a pin of that because I was like, yo, I gotta start jumping on these things as soon as they happen. Especially like when it's female wrestlers. Like I really wanted to make pins of them and focus on them because like yeah, like I said, I was the only female at the time
Yep.
doing this, and so I was like, I feel like I got to be the one to do the female pins, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, so I really blew up after the Becky Lynch pin. Those like sold out instantly, and then I got a ton of followers after that, and then you know I had to make more designs. I'm like I got all these people wanting wrestling pins, and so that's where I really took off. I made like a Bootios pin that
I
was pretty
seen that.
popular. Yeah, the New Day actually all own one, so that's pretty sick.
I seen that on
Um,
your yeah, on your page. You have they actually have a picture of them all with
yeah,
they're all kind of like biting it.
yeah.
Or Big E is anyway. I don't know about Kofi and Xavier Woods, but he has it in his mouth, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, and
Um,
I had a Rhea Ripley pin, and she also owns that. She like
that's
yeah,
awesome.
she hit me up, wanted some to give out to her friends and shit.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it was
great.
pretty. Yeah, it's pretty surreal when the wrestler actually owns a copy of your merchandise.
Man, let's you know what? Like I said, great segue. Let's get into that. Like, how's I've spoken to, like I said, like extra cooler. Obviously he's a friend.
Oh,
No Lane,
love Nick. Yeah,
yeah, Nick's awesome. Nolanium, um,
mhm.
Nolan. If you met him, he's also an illustrator.
Not
Um,
in person,
yeah,
but
and they
we're
talk.
friends.
Yeah, they talk about like working with different working with different wrestlers and stuff like that, and how crazy it is that they these people that they're watching on TV, whether it be
Mhm.
older generation or new generation, they're actually like conversating with these people. How is that? How is that for you? Like getting those like messages or meeting them in person and them like following up with you afterwards.
Well, let's see. With the New Day, I didn't meet and or speak to. It was actually like
Okay.
we had like a mutual friend that she
Hmm.
was like, "Oh, we got to get
Okay.
your pins to them." So I sent them to her, and I was like, "Just get me a picture. It's good enough." And with Rhea, I think I tagged her in pictures of her pins, and she at the time she was actually still in NXT, I think. So she didn't really have that many followers. I would say it's like a few 100,000 followers at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were friends on Instagram. We would talk once in a while, and like she would order stuff from my Etsy sometimes.
Oh
It was
wow.
pretty wild. Yeah, so I would like I sent her like a bunch of the pins I made of her and like some little care packages. Now we're not friends on Instagram because I got deleted and she's
Oh
too
no.
famous. She's too famous to recognize me in the sea of followers she has. It's like so disappointing.
Aw.
But yeah, who else? Oh, Mick Foley. I'm friends with Mick Foley after like during the pandemic. He, was helping out people on Twitter that were like unemployed and just like needed some cheering up. So he saw that I was unemployed and made cakes, and he messaged me and he was like, "Wow, like do you make gingerbread cookies? Because like Christmas is his favorite holiday,
Oh
and like
yeah, he loves Christmas.
he loves gingerbread cookies." So he saw like I actually used to make gingerbread cookies that looked like wrestlers. I
Yeah.
would just like cut them out, but put like wrestlers gear on them and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, he requested some of him and like his family and his two dogs. So
Oh, that's awesome. That's
like
great.
every Christmas, I send him gingerbread cookies, and he actually has copies of his pin that I made, where it's like the Mick Foley with the dangling ear, And it comes in a set with Vader and a dangling eye. I'm not sure if you've seen that.
Oh yeah, yeah. When it's that, yeah, that's
Yeah, so he's a big fan of those.
that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who else. I met Enzo last year, and I had made a pin of him like way back in the day. And so I was like, yo, like I was a huge fan, and I showed him a picture of the pin. And he's like, oh shit, I've seen that. Like I didn't know I didn't know who made it. I'm like, okay. That was me, so that happens a lot.
Oh man, that's insane. Like it just like that must be like a crazy feeling, especially with like Mick Foley, you know, being able to like have that access to like, hey, I'm actually able to like, well, I can actually like call him a friend and you know, I send him cookies pretty much every Christmas. It's just
Yeah,
pretty
it's
crazy.
wild. He trusts me with his address.
Yeah, that's another thing. A lot of people a lot of people would take advantage of that and just
Yeah,
start
it's
sending
pretty
random things.
yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing to think about that kind of stuff.
The other side of that too is I did see obviously with just speaking of wrestlers, you do have on your Instagram you do have like a lot of pictures with different ones, especially like you said Mick Foley. Um,
Mhm.
I love the Pete Dunne picture that you have
Yeah.
where you both buying the T-shirt. That was
Yeah, that was at
it,
a I
it,
think it was Progress show in New
yeah.
York, and like I went up to the table and I wanted to buy a T-shirt, and it just so happened that the only size left that they had was a small, and I'm like, I'm a small, great, give it to me. So I bought it, and then I was like, can I take a picture with you? And I put it in my mouth, and he looked over and saw me and put the other side in his mouth. I was freaking out. Like
That's
I was
crazy.
shaking. Yeah,
Oh
I get
man.
like real worked up when I meet wrestlers. Like it's I get so I get so nervous. Like people make fun of me so hard. I can't even function when I meet a wrestler or if I'm in their presence. I like freeze up. I don't know what to do. I'm just shaking.
I mean, that's it's a natural thing to do when when you're seeing somebody that like you kind of like I said you kind of watch on TV all the time and
Mhm.
you kind of like I don't want to say admire them, but you're like holy crap, this person's so cool. And then when you actually meet them in person and they are cool, that brings it even more over the top.
Yeah,
Like it did.
sometimes it's like I can't even find out if they're cool or not because like nothing comes out of my mouth. Like
Yeah, no,
I just
exactly.
freeze. Most of the time, yeah, I just freeze and I just can't say anything.
But yeah, yes. Well, yesterday actually, I'm kind of dating this episode, but yesterday I went to the Major Bros. They do a show pretty much. I mean, they do them all year long, but they did one in my area, and they had Heath Slater and Jerry Lynn as they were doing signings and stuff like that. And Heath Slater was awesome. Like obviously he has daughters. I have two twin daughters, and we were
Oh,
like
you
just
got
talking.
kids?
Yeah, I have kids. Yeah, I have kids. And he, I get ready to take the picture with him, and I'm like, he had this shirt there, and I'm like, you know what? I was like, I never, obviously, when you said it on TV, and you're like, I got kids, I need this job, that type of thing. I never understood
Yeah.
it until I actually had kids, and he just started laughing. And he was like, oh, he's like, yeah, he was like, I was like, yeah, I have two daughters, twin daughters, and he's like, oh yeah, I have two daughters, obviously, he's like, we just started talking about like, is one of them like one of them calm and the other one crazy, that type of thing. So he's
Mhm,
actually it was he said it's one of those things that they're like when they're really cool. Like who would have thought
mhm.
I'd be sitting there talking about kids with Heath Slater
Yeah, just
with
like
pretty much what
normal
yeah.
everyday shit. Not even a career, just as children.
But yeah, like that those types of those types of interactions are awesome. Like I could just I mean, like I said, I went through like pretty much your whole not I didn't like creep, I wasn't like a creep scrolling through your
Oh,
Instagram,
it's
but
fine.
yeah,
I don't mind.
I stayed at the top a little bit. I tried to. But
You
no, I
just
was
do research. It's fine. No
no, yeah, no, I
judgment.
was like I went on your website more than anything just to like, see all the different, cakes that you did and all
Mhm.
that type of stuff. But the the Scissorby picture with Billy Gunn. That's
Yeah.
another like cool thing. Like how many people get to do that? Like most people like when they do
Um,
signings, they just stand next to the table or that type of thing. But you're actually doing like poses, like with the Mick Foley one, you get the bat over his head and
mhm.
everything. Like yeah, the barbed wire bat, like that, like to get that type of photo op is pretty awesome. I think
Yeah,
anyway.
it's usually because I'm bribing them though, because like, with Billy Gunn, it was
That's funny.
no joke. Like Billy Gunn, it was at WrestleCade. I actually just started doing like cons, vending,
Yeah.
my merch and stuff. And so that was at WrestleCade, and I heard he was there in the next room. So I was like, okay. When I had a spare moment, I like packed up all my like acclaimed stickers and pins and stuff that I had made,
Yeah.
and I just like put it in a bag, and I was like, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
give this to him. And yeah, so I like went over there. Thankfully, there was no line at the time, and I just went straight up to him and like, I have gifts for you. And he saw them, and he was like, his assistant or whatever was actually like, you want to get a picture? I was like, I didn't even have to ask, thank God. And I realized like I was like, can we please scissor? And he was like, yeah. And I realized like after we took the picture, I was like squeezing him so hard around the waist because I was so nervous. But yeah,
Oh
he was
man.
so sweet. And like yeah, with Mick Foley, like when I met him, that was actually like the second time I met him at
Yeah.
GalaxyCon. But I had brought him cookies then too, because he was like, I asked him, I was like, oh, I see you're on the flyer for GalaxyCon. Do you
Wow.
like you? Can we like meet up? He's like, yeah, actually, do you think you can bring me cookies? I was like, yeah. When Mick Foley asks you for cookies, like you just bring him cookies, no
Oh
question.
man.
So I brought him a ton of cookies. And he was like, yeah, just skip the line whenever you come to my table. So yeah, just it's all about bribery for sure.
So that's a at least you're honest. That's the
Yeah,
yeah, and you have that. Well, I mean, hey, you have the skill set to do the
yeah,
bribery, so why not? I mean,
yeah. As long as people can appreciate it, like free art, sure, in exchange for a free picture, why not?
I did see, obviously, you got to send Stone Cold a gingerbread cookie as well. I seen that
Hmm.
photo. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I seen
I wish I had
also,
gotten to meet him, but that was another
yeah,
situation where it was like a mutual friend, you know, just arranged for him to get a cookie from me.
that's
But I mean,
awesome.
that's all I need.
Looks just like him though. It doesn't take much. I mean,
Yeah, I'm like, as long as there's photo proof, like that's fine.
I mean, it didn't take much. I mean, you just, like I said, you did like the abs on it, and he's already bald, so all you had to do was add the goatee. The clothes, pretty much, right? It wasn't
Yeah, hair
wasn't
can
too
be the
crazy.
hardest part on those gingerbread cookies. So.
And then last but not least, one of my all time favorite wrestlers ever, Scott Hall, aka Razor Ramon. Seen a picture. You have
R.I.P.
that. You two sweeting. I have a picture actually with Kevin Nash. That I thought I posted on my Instagram, but I didn't. But I met him at a WrestleCon as well.
Oh, nice.
How was that? How'd that photo come about with Scott Hall?
Well, first of all, actually, I have a photo with Kevin Nash too because Mick Foley arranged for me to meet him at GalaxyCon, and I
See
gave
that?
Kevin Nash. I knew ahead of time Kevin Nash was going to be there, so I made him like NWO cookies,
Oh, that's awesome. See,
and I gave them to
that's
him.
awesome.
But the Scott Hall photo is funny because I went to Chicago for one of the first AEW pay-per-views. I like can't
Okay.
remember which one it was, but it was yeah. So it was at some hotel. Anyway, I don't remember, but I was actually in the parking lot, and I was in a car with somebody. We were actually about to leave. We're driving through the lot, and I see Scott Hall on the sidewalk. And I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh shit!" And I pretty much just opened the car door and jumped out. Like I gotta go. I like yeah, just kind of tucked and rolled out of the car, and I went up to Scott and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm such a huge fan." And I was like, "Can I just get a picture with you really quick?" And it was the funniest thing ever. He goes, "Well, of course, you're the only hot chick to come up to me all weekend."
That's
And
awesome.
that fucked me up. Like when I said I shake it like when I meet wrestlers before, like, oh my god, this was
That'll do it right
yeah,
there.
I was like, are you kidding? That's like the greatest compliment I've gotten in my entire life. Yeah.
Oh man.
That's why you could see my smile is super cheesy in that picture, Scott, because I just couldn't handle it.
As
So
it
yeah,
should
Scott
be.
Hall called me hot, and
Yeah.
I'm
I
taking
mean,
that
I
to the
mean,
grave.
I mean, you're the first person that that's been on the show that's actually had that said that. Anyway, I haven't heard
Yeah,
anyone
I
else
know. I
say
feel
that.
like not
So
many people can say that.
no, I mean that's a one in a million type deal that I'll ever speak to somebody that had that conversation with Scott Hall.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's that's like I said, that was one of those guys that when he passed away, that was like a huge hit to like not only like the wrestling community, it was like everywhere. It was like pop culture pretty much. With
Yeah.
everyone knows, if you don't know Scott Hall, you definitely know who Razor Ramon is, especially with I actually posted a video maybe a couple weeks back of him on the Jerry Springer show when he did an appearance for those two children that had HIV, and he did like an appearance and sat with them and stuff like that, did an interview and all that stuff with the
Yeah,
kids
I
and stuff
didn't
like
know
that. So
that.
yeah, I think
Oh
it's like I said, if you
man.
scroll a little bit, you'll see Razor Ramon sitting with two. He's in between two kids on the Jerry Springer show, and they both had HIV, and he like he came
Oh,
out, did like did the interview. He I don't want to give away what the rest of the what happens in the video, but it's pretty awesome just him doing that. And I was like, I mean, I think he was like Intercontinental Champion at the time when he did that. So he
yeah.
came out in full gear as well, full Razor Ramon gear, no regular
Damn,
clothes.
what
He
a
had the knee
dude.
pads, the vest, all that stuff. So gold chains.
The
It's pretty sick.
toothpick.
Yeah, the toothpick, everything. Yeah, definitely check it out. Yeah, go to MVP Marco. You'll see it
Yeah, I
now.
gotta check that out. Oh, that's sweet.
It's a
I'm
really
really grateful I got to meet him like
yeah.
pretty soon before
Oh yeah,
he left
definitely.
this world.
Yeah, that was like I said, that was a huge hit to everybody. I would say, man. But the next I want to move on to the I want to move on to like the process of doing these cakes. If you have secrets you don't want to give away, you don't have to do that. But if you can give like a kind of like a overarching or kind of like a general thing of how do you come up with the ideas to do these, like you know how do you do it? Now, like I said, don't give away like any secrets or anything like that, but like you basically like the method to your madness when it comes to baking and decorating.
Well, when it comes to like the personal cakes that I make for like social media and whatnot, I basically just try to do things that haven't been done before. I don't try to like do any repeat cakes that I've like seen done a million
Yeah,
times. So I'm always trying to be original. So like I said, like I was saying, I just like doing cakes that I've been wanting to do and just never got the chance to. So
yep,
yeah, I like to focus on wrestling. I'm big on nostalgia, so like I love doing like old video games and old toys and
yep,
stuff that like really shaped my childhood. But keep it wrestling themed. So like I did the Hasbro cake. That was one of my recent ones.
yep.
I did like the No Mercy 64 cartridge. And like it's always stuff that I want to like fool people and like try to keep them as realistic as possible. So it's got to be something that's like
Yeah.
actually manageable to do. Like, although I'd love to do like a life-size wrestling ring out of cake one day, like
Oh, yeah. Oh, just
not
like
today.
an
I
actual
would
like
love, I would love that. Yeah,
20 by 20, like an actual 20 by 20 ring. That'd be
I think
crazy.
that would be pretty sick. Yeah,
Oh
especially
my,
if it was like you don't tell the wrestlers that it's
that'd be pretty insane.
yeah, make some like weapons out of cake too, steel chairs, tables,
Oh,
all that.
trash cans or something.
Yeah,
You could do like the edible trash can. That'd be sick.
yeah. So
Oh,
that's the dream.
oh
But for
man.
now, yeah, I like to be realistic. Do things that are like to scale. That's why I like to focus on stuff like
Yes.
wrestling toys and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I did see like I said, we talked about the retro ring. I did see also did a Nintendo and like the NES cartridge, like the very first
Yeah,
system. I seen that one there. The TV one was pretty sick too as well. There was like the little mini
the little
those
CRT
TV
TV.
VCR TVs or whatever the hell they were called
Mhm.
back in the day. those are pretty awesome. Um, yeah, I don't like I said, it's one of those things where like I wouldn't even think of like I wouldn't even know where to start doing something like that. Like how does that process happen? Like what is that like how does the idea how did the ideas come about? Like you said, you obviously you like to do like things that you couldn't do, but like where does it like where do you begin? Like how does that like oh if I'm gonna build this, I gotta do this, and this. Like how does that come about?
Well, I mean, I have an ever-growing list of cakes that I want to do,
Yeah,
to be honest. So like, keep an eye out because they're gonna keep on coming. So yeah, I have tons of ideas, and I'm just like, I. It's really easy to for me to tackle a cake if I already own the object. Like
yes, okay.
with the yeah, but like with the NES game Pro Wrestling, I actually had just bought that recently. So I was like, oh, this would make a great cake. And like I have the object to like actually use as reference as opposed
Yeah,
to like having to look up pictures online constantly.
yep,
So it's, yeah, way easier when I own the object. Like when I did the N64 No Mercy 64 cartridge, like I already had that, so it's like really easy to keep everything to scale.
yeah,
But the Hasbro ring, I don't actually own that, unfortunately. So that
okay.
was something I had to like have like tons of photos that I looked up to use as reference, and then I had to like scale everything out. I like actually I couldn't find like all the measurements online, so I like posted on Instagram like who owns this and can you measure out the exact dimensions for me
Yeah.
for like everything. Measure out the logo, like the stairs, the flagpole. Like I just need to keep everything as accurate as possible. So like when I don't have the actual object, like I still
Yeah.
have to, do all my research and try to get everything to scale. But I think I did a good job with that one for not
I
actually having the ring as reference.
hey, no, it looks really good, like the WWF logo in the middle,
Thank you.
um, the ropes. Like, I was, like, more surprised, like, how you did the ropes,
Yeah, those are actually
more than anything.
spaghetti because
Is
I
that
try to keep that as much as possible actually edible. So yeah, I use spaghetti.
so what about the part where it wraps around the post? Is that also spaghetti? Would you, like wrap
No, that was fondant. So like I just made fondant in the same
Ah,
color. And yeah, it's like all in a little
ah.
illusion.
Wow, no, that's like I said, it looks I mean, when you watch the video, when I was showing my friend, he was like, "What am I watching?" And I was like, "Just," I was like, "Just watch it." And then he see, I was like, he's like, "Holy crap!" He was like, "That's actually cake." I was like, "Yeah, apparently it is." I was like,
That's
It's
funny
pretty
because that's
insane."
what they said. I don't know if you know this. Everybody tagged like Matt Cardona and the
Oh, of
major
course,
wrestling
yeah.
figure
I mean,
podcast in that, and they
yeah,
mentioned me on the show, and they
yeah.
were like, they said the exact same thing. What am I watching? So that was pretty cool. I couldn't believe they actually mentioned me.
Yeah, no, that was yeah, obviously they're like the lead guys with figure collecting and things like that. So
Mhm.
they would probably be like the main authority to go like, hey, what's the scale of this ring? They would definitely
Yeah,
tell you, they would be able to tell you that. My other favorite one that you did was the WWE or WWF ice cream bar. Um
yeah.
that looked you just want to like eat cake after you look at your page, which is not a good thing.
Well, it's
You just
funny.
want
The
to.
the ice cream bar is actually the first cake I had made for social media. When
Okay.
when everybody was doing like the cake cutting videos when I first started, that was the first cake I did. I don't know why.
Okay.
It just came to me, and I was like, "Yeah, this looks like a pretty like reasonable cake to make." And I didn't have one of those bars as reference, but like I did eat them all the time as a kid, so I was like, I know exactly what this is supposed to look like.
Again, I mean, pretty close to like what it actually looks like. Um, and then last but not least, my favorite thing with the VHS tapes. Um, how did like how did you do it? It's like you said, if you want to see an illusion, that's definitely an illusion. Like just seeing like the row of VHS tapes, and then like half of them are cake. How did where'd that idea come from?
So I think so you saw the CRT cake that also had like
Yes.
some VHSs on it.
Yep.
So I actually made that for my boyfriend's birthday because he collects like anime VHSs and
Okay.
loved like CRT TVs. So I made that for him, and then I realized I was like, why don't I make a wrestling VHS cake? Like that, I felt like that was the next step.
Yeah.
So I yeah, that was my next idea, but I was like, I don't actually like I'm not a VHS collector myself. So I only have like a couple wrestling VHSs. So I actually went on Instagram before I started the cake and I was like, is there anybody that wants to like sell me wrestling VHSs for cheap? Because I need them for a project. All I said was a project.
Yeah.
And then a couple people reached out to me and they're like, yeah, you know, like I got these that you can have. I was like, all right, sick. So after I got the tapes in the mail, I was like, I have enough to actually look, you know, like it'll fit on a shelf and kind of look deceiving. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I started the cake and yeah, I was like, I just gotta hide them among the real ones.
Yeah,
And
you can't tell at all. It's crazy. It's
thank
insane.
you.
Like, how did is it like even like the tops, like obviously if you've seen like a VHS tape, it had like the cardboard cover that you put over
Hmm.
the tape, and it has like the flap at the top that you can open up. Like even
Yeah.
that like looks like that's super detailed. Like you couldn't tell. Like
Thank
if you're
you.
looking at it as a picture, because it's not obviously when you're on Instagram, you can't unless you click on the image the image, you're not going to see it move. But like
Hmm.
from first glimpse, it just looks like a row of VHS tapes. It's insane. Like
Hell yeah, that's what I'm going for.
yeah, no, it's that was like that blew me away the most seeing that because the detail on it too, like on the actual VHS tapes. Like I'm assuming it was like printed on somehow. I don't know. I'm
Hmm.
not a okay. Yeah,
Yeah, so I
that's
had to, you know, make a cake. I made the cakes like you know, there was like two separate cakes. There was like a single VHS and then a like a three VHSs together. So I had to make them
yeah,
like exactly to scale. And then I had to find the images of the VHSs like front, top, side, all
yeah,
that. And then I do print them on edible paper, but then I kind of like wear them down on the sides to make it look like cardboardy.
yeah.
So, and then I kind of, yeah, I just kind of put it on the cake so it doesn't look like flat. That's why I did like I managed to do the little flaps on the top of the cake. I left like a little gap to make it look like cardboard.
Crazy. That's like I said. That's like I said. That blew me away like the most. I was like, holy crap! I was like, that was like that's pretty much like the one that like said, all right, let me reach out to her, see if she'll talk to me. If not, I at least I tried. If she says no, that's totally fine. I'll just say, hey, real big fan, blah blah, blah and keep it moving. But obviously, you return the favor, and we're talking. But um, we went through. Okay, so we went through your baking, we went through the pins, we went through your art, and now we definitely have to talk about your cosplay. Um, awesome cosplay. So now you're the all right. So I'm going to add you to the person that or fourth woman. I'm going to say that has pulled off a mankind cosplay.
Wow, I'm
And
the fourth.
yeah,
Damn.
the fourth one that I know of anyway. So it was first is Sheena Chick Foley. She's the first one I ever seen. With a Mick Foley cosplay. I did see Over the Moonsault. Are you familiar with her?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
actually, she's actually her episode came out today, so definitely listen to it
Oh
if you
shit.
haven't.
Yeah, I
Well, it's
love
her
her.
yeah, it was her third time on here. I had her on 3 times already.
Oh
Um,
damn.
and she there was in who else? Lashes and Lariats. I had her on. Her episode's coming out pretty soon. She's another one that did a Mick Foley cosplay, and you're the fourth one. And I always ask, did you build it from the ground up? Did you make the mask? Most importantly, was
I
that
did.
you? Okay, awesome.
Well, yeah. Actually, the funny thing is, I've done cosplay like forever. Ever since I
Yeah.
started going to like New York Comic Con. But I've been going for I don't know over a decade.
Yep.
So it's funny because Mankind was actually my first wrestling cosplay that I did.
Okay.
So that must have been, oh my god, I don't know. That must have been like at least 7 years ago. I
Yeah.
did it. And it was actually me and my best friend came up with the idea because we wanted to do a matching cosplay. So we went to New York Comic Con and we decided on, yeah, like she was Cactus Jack and I was
Awesome.
Mankind. We couldn't find a dude love, unfortunately, but
No.
yeah, but it was good enough. Yeah, so that was actually early on in my cosplaying days. I would make almost all of my costume from scratch, which I don't have the time to do anymore. But
Yeah.
yeah, I like made that mask completely from scratch, which is a pain in the ass because I can sew, but it's a lot harder when you're making like something that has to form fit to a face. Like
Yeah.
it's more of like a 3D object. It's not like a flat piece of clothing. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a challenge.
Yeah. Man, like I said, there's like I mean, you had like I seen it from like you have like a collage of all the like
Mhm.
not all your cosplays, but like the Oscar one, like insane. I don't think I've ever seen a Oscar cosplay like that at all.
Thank
That's like
you.
that looks like a lot of work.
Oh
You
yeah,
definitely went
that
into
was a
that one.
lot. I think
Um,
like I had what I do a lot of the time now is because I like have so little free time. It's like
yep.
I just buy like say I'll buy like a bathing suit and then I sew all the details on top of it.
Okay.
But so yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of that was, hand sewn, not like the base, not from the ground up, but
Yeah.
it took a lot of time as is.
No, that's another that's one of the things I spoke to Casey about was nowadays with like before she would like everything like was hers from the
Mhm.
ground up like sewing and all that stuff, and then now it's a little bit different with personal life slash you know online life. You don't have the time to do things, so some things you got to order, some things you got to
Mhm.
order in.
Yeah.
I've had Chris Wayne on too as well.
Oh,
um
look, Chris,
yeah, and
my boy.
he said he orders a lot. A lot of his stuff is a lot of his stuff is ordered because he doesn't have like the time to do that, nor does he do things by himself. So,
Yeah, it's
as
hard.
as you can see, I do have a lot. I don't know. I think that's the niche for me is cosplayers on my show for some odd reason. Machoverse, you, Chris Wayne,
Yeah, I mean, there's a
Casey.
lot of us.
As Lashes and Lariats. If you ever follow her, she's awesome. But yeah, the Oscar, like I said, was amazing. The EO, when did you do that one? Was that war recently or was that
That was last October. Yeah, it was last October for New York Comic Con. It's like I don't live in New York anymore, but I do
yeah,
go up every year for Comic Con, and then every year I'm like I gotta come up with a new wrestling cosplay.
yeah,
So obviously she was real hot at the time, and
yep,
I was like I haven't seen a Neo cosplay, so I'm like why the fuck not? And yeah, that was a lot of work. I bought like some of the pieces. Like it that started out as like a plain puffy black jacket,
yeah,
and I sewed like all the straps onto it, like all the like straps,
oh my,
chains, whatever.
yeah,
And there was like kanji on her straps that I like actually had cut out of a cry cut vinyl, and then like I ironed them on. So yeah, just all the details were hand sewn. It's like, yeah, I don't have time to like make a jacket from scratch. I used
jeez,
to back in the day when I first started cosplaying and I like got my first sewing machine. I was
yeah.
stoked about it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make it from scratch to say that I did. And now, like, I don't care anymore.
Oh man, that's yeah. That was like I said that one, the Oscar. I mean, obviously, there's a ton of like the Fiend one's pretty cool. That one as well.
Oh yeah,
But
that I made that. I bought a base, like just like a plain white mask that I don't know, it looks like a Jabberwocky's mask, and then I sculpted that all on top of that by
oh,
hand.
so that wasn't that you did that mask yourself? Like you made it?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Which is
That's yep.
funny because yeah, I know that at the time they had a fiend mask on the WWE
Yes,
shop
that's what I
that you
thought
could
it
buy,
was.
but it looked like shit.
Yeah.
It was like a rubber mask and like yeah, it just looked terrible. So I was like, I gotta like do this for real. That's how
Wow.
I like actually sculpted it. And then I had actually had people like messaging me after that, and they were like, "Where did you buy that?" I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh no, I made that shit." And they were like, "How much do you want for me to commission one from you?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Well, I would have
Wow.
loved to make that a side business. It's just sculpting fiend masks, but it took
Wow.
me like 2 weeks. I was
It
like, I
was that thing's detailed too. If
can't.
you, I mean, obviously you can't tell by the like the collage picture, so you have to like scroll a little bit on the
Hmm.
on your page. But you have that one. It's like a split with Funhouse Bray
Yeah,
and the Fiend. That one you can actually really see the detail in that. While you have like all the wrinkles and everything in it
yeah.
too.
I'm like all about accuracy. I'm like,
Insane.
if it doesn't look right, then I don't want to put it out there.
Yeah, I mean, even that's impressive. That's probably like that's. I mean, I've like I said, I've seen a lot of cosplays, and I mean, everyone has their own niche when it comes to it. Everyone, but that's pretty insane. The closest I've seen was Over the Moonsaw with the I think it was the Ricky the Dragon Steamboat that she did,
Oh yeah,
where
that was sick.
she did like the cape and everything. She actually like
Mhm.
sewed on like the dragon wing cape and all that stuff. It is pretty insane. How
Yeah,
did you
she's
do the
super talented.
did you do was the dreads like a wig
Yeah, that
for
was a
the
wig.
okay.
And then I kind of like styled it because it just looked like, I don't know, a Rasta wig. And like,
Yeah.
so I kind of had to like cut some off and like sew some in different places. Yeah.
And how was it meeting I seen obviously other ones. My other favorite one too, which kind of scared me a little bit because it was kind of creepy, was the Danhausen for some reason,
Oh,
the
yeah.
face that you're making. I was like, oh, oh, but it's actually really good. That's
Thank you.
that was a that that was like I said, it scared me, so it did its job. If that's what you were going for in that
Yeah,
sense.
definitely. Yeah.
Uh,
That was
um,
actually during the pandemic, like when COVID hit and like we were all in quarantine and shit, and I had nothing
yeah.
to do. So I
Oh
was like,
man, that
let me do a couple cosplays in my house. Why not?
and you did the makeup. I'm assuming like you did the makeup yourself in the
Yeah.
wow. And I actually spoke to when I spoke to Lucy, I should call her, that's her actual name.
Mhm.
She does like her own face paint, like she did the Sting face paint stuff. I'm like, how do you not like do it backwards? Like when you because I'm assuming you're looking in the mirror when you're doing it, right? And how does it not like how do you not mess up when you're doing that? Like, what is your method of putting on face paint?
Oh, you definitely mess up. Well, at least I do. I'm not a
Okay.
makeup artist by any means. I don't I barely even wear makeup on a daily basis. So like it's yeah, it's tough. I definitely do get shit uneven. And
Yeah.
then it's like I just keep adding more to the other side. I don't that actually reminds me, I don't know if you saw my Sting makeup video, but
Yes. I actually
that is
yeah, I see that.
exactly the process I'm talking about. It's like I keep like fucking up one side, so I like kind of try to make the other side even, and
Oh
eventually it's
yeah.
like this is good enough.
I did see, actually, since you brought up Sting, you do have a photo op with him. How was that?
Yep.
How was it meeting the icon? The
Oh, it
icon
was
Sting.
yeah, that was mind blowing. It was like so he was at GalaxyCon in Richmond, and it was actually his first appearance after he had retired. So I was
Oh
like,
wow. Okay.
I don't really
Recent.
pay for photo ops.
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta do this, and I was like, I've been wanting to do a real Sting cosplay for a while now. So I was like, this is a good excuse. So I
Yeah.
did did my cosplay. Um, I actually got there like late, and he was about to pack up, or he was supposed to pack up and stuff, but he decided to like wait for I don't know, an extra half hour, and I got in right in time, and
Yeah.
it was really funny, like the height difference and whatnot, and everyone was calling me Lil Sting.
Little.
I didn't have much time to talk to him, but I did get to meet him, and that's all that matters.
Oh man, no, that's awesome. Did he? Like I said, I mean the face paint looks really good. I'm not. I mean, I think it looks good from my own eyes anyway. I can't. I'm not the judge
Thank you.
of cosplay, but it's really good. Um, how is it like?
From afar, it looks good. But
Yeah,
from
yeah,
up
no, from
close, it's
yeah.
like you see all the mistakes.
Would you ever do? I should. I'll ask you this because I asked other people. Would you ever consider doing like like a instead of doing multiple cosplays, would you ever stick to one cos? Kind of like how
Like
Machoverse does this Macho
Macho.
Man. Yeah, would you do like if you could pick one to do like be like that appears at it every single one? Who would that be? Do you think for
Hmm.
you anyway, or is that hard to choose because
Damn,
you have so many good
that's tough.
ones?
Yeah, that's tough because I'm all about like variety.
Yeah,
So yeah, I just try to I like to do something new every time. But
yeah.
I don't know, that's tough. I'm trying to think of somebody that maybe has a lot of wardrobe changes, but
Do you
yeah,
have
I
any?
can't think of anybody. I just
Okay,
like to keep it, mix it up, keep it different every year.
okay. Do you
I'm
have
still
any?
thinking about what I want to do for this year's Comic Con.
Yeah, no, I was gonna. That actually kind of leads me to our next question. Is there anyone that you haven't cosplayed at as yet, but you want to that you're considering or have any ideas for?
Definitely. It's tough. This time I'm like, yeah, I'm really trying to think of something relevant to do. Like
Yeah,
I even like as you can see, I do always like to switch the genders, you know?
yep,
I like to do male
yep,
wrestlers, but make them kind of like sexy.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, so I think Asuka and Io were the only ones that were actually female that I did.
yeah. That's
So
right.
I am leaning towards a female wrestler this year. I just can't
Okay.
decide who. I'm like, I, I have been thinking about doing Rhea or Tony Storm,
Ooh,
but
okay. I like that
I'm gonna be
idea.
honest, I don't really have the bodies for them. Like, I got to work out a little more.
I think the Tony Storm could be. I mean, not that I can not that I can contribute at all, but the timeless Tony Storm would be pretty cool because you can go full like black and white, like all white face, like all like
Oh
the arms
damn,
white. Like that'd be pretty cool, like red lipstick and
that's
just
a good idea.
all head
Yeah,
to toe, all white, like just in like not just like dress up as her like that, but like enough not like cover your whole body in like white paint, but like where it's exposed, like arms
yeah,
and stuff like that. If you're wearing like a that like long robe that she wears, you could probably just do your hands or something like that.
yeah.
That'd
Damn,
be
that's a
pretty
lot of
cool. I
dedication
mean, that'd be
though,
a
but
lot of
that would
work,
look
but
sick. Yeah,
just an
and I would fuck
idea.
it up 100%. Fuck it up like an hour into wearing the paint.
Be melting all over the place. It's like, oh, what the
No,
hell?
like I'll have handprints all over me for
Oh
sure.
yeah, that's I didn't even think of that. That's tough. I mean, you can get away with it. Maybe throw some gloves on or something
Yeah,
like that. Who knows? Those like long silky gloves that they used to wear
yeah.
back in the day. Um, yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, it's like I said, you definitely have the skill set to pull off anything, and I'm pretty sure whatever you do next is going to be phenomenal. I didn't ask you this. I forgot to ask you this while we were
Mhm.
talking about your EO. Was the Money in the Bank briefcase cake, or was it an actual Money in the Bank briefcase that you're holding in the picture?
So it is a Money in the Bank briefcase, but
Okay,
like a real one. But it's funny that you say that because that's one of the next cakes I'm doing.
I that's what I was hoping you were
Nobody,
going to say.
nobody's got to know that, and they have to watch this podcast to actually get that
Oh,
information.
nice.
So
I
don't
can't.
spread the word.
I can't. No, I know. You know what? But lips are sealed until this episode
Yeah,
drops. So,
yeah.
but yeah,
That'll
I mean,
lure them in. Be like, you're gonna find out what Marge's
my
next cake is gonna be if you watch this episode.
my kids would have loved a Money in the Bank freaking uh cake because
Oh
they love like the briefcase and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that would have been cool if you could do that as cake. But that'd probably take a. I
It's
mean,
in the works. It's in the works. Hello?
can you hear me?
Hey. Yeah, it froze.
Okay.
I couldn't
Oh,
hear
oh
anything.
yeah. No, okay. All right. Yeah, it's being a little weird over here, but um, my next thing for you was before we go is obviously you do a lot of different things. You have a lot of stuff that you do, a lot of skill sets. What do you do for besides wrestling? Like what are your other hobbies in life? Do you read? Do you watch movies? Are you a music buff? Or what do you do? What do you do with your fun time? I like to say.
Well, I mean, this might be a little sad, but like art is my main hobby. So it's
Okay,
like
that's
I,
totally fine.
yeah,
To
like
each
in
his
my
own.
free time, I come home from work at the bakery, and then yeah, in my free time, my days off, I'm usually sitting at my iPad or computer drawing because I don't
Okay.
know. I know it's like my career, but it's also my number one hobby. So
Yeah.
most of the time, it's that. And this is a little random, but my another one of my hobbies is playing Dance Dance Revolution.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like this is my primary form of exercise. That's actually how I met my boyfriend, from going to the arcade and
Oh, that's
playing that.
awesome.
So yeah, there's not much to me, honestly. I just love art, and that's pretty much all I do. But I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Is that so? So do you? How do you like draw? Like, how do you get? I almost said draw the ideas. How did you get the ideas for the things that you draw? Is it just like, are you sitting there like kind of like brainstorming, or do you like draw? You know, draw from things that you're going through throughout the day.
Honestly, I'm always coming up with new ideas for stuff.
Okay.
It just like shit just pops up into my head, and then I
Okay.
have to like write it down instantly, or I'm gonna forget it. So yeah, there's that. It's usually like if I'm watching wrestling and something pretty big happens, I have to jump on that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, this is relevant right now, so I'm gonna
Okay.
draw this today. But yeah, like stupid shit pops into my head all the time. Like, all right, I'll get around to drawing that. So yeah, I have like a long list, post-its everywhere with like drawing ideas I've got that I just like have to find time to do.
Oh,
But
awesome.
yeah, and I went to watch Dynamite and Rampage last week, and I saw MXM Collection live, and they
Ooh.
were
Okay.
hilarious. And that's like one of the last. I think that's the last drawing I posted on Instagram because I saw them and they like I'm hooked. So I was like, I gotta draw them. So yeah, it's just like usually just stuff that I've just experienced or is relevant at the time. Especially if like nobody's drawn it yet, that's another thing. I just try to keep things original, and I'm like, oh, if somebody's already drawn this, like I'm not gonna step on their toes and draw this exact same thing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I'm actually as I'm talking to you, I'm like thinking of like if I was able to do what you do, the amount of
Mhm.
things I would like create. Like I would I would try to make cake replicas of like all the old WWE at the time, WWF at the time, when they would do pay-per-views, they would have like
Mhm.
a like the sets would be specific to that
Yeah.
pay-per-view. So like Backlash, for instance, there was one where it was like a big like metal stage with like these big giant swinging hooks and stuff like that. Or I think
Uh-huh.
one of the Royal Rumbles, was it 99 or 2000? I forget. It was Triple H versus Cactus Jack in like a street fight. And the entranceway was it was like it was in New York, so it was like a brick wall, and then like
Mhm.
a car like crashing through like the. I would like
Oh yeah.
I would try to do that if I was. I mean, it'd probably take me forever to do, but
Oh
I'd be
yeah.
just going back and like creating all these old sets if I could, but they would be
Well,
cake, the
it's
stage,
funny.
and all that stuff.
Funny when you say that. Somebody actually suggested to me recently. They were like, "You should do the big SmackDown fist
Oh, see
tape."
that be exactly yes, the old raw like metal grated Titantron with like the video playing in the middle and
That too,
yeah, dude,
yeah.
I would do all
Oh,
that, dude. I would do all that. Even the other SmackDown with the rings, like the it was like kind of like a I don't know, they were kind of like egg shaped things or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Um, the I would do the Nitro set, the old one and the new one, the 2000 one with like the weird
Mhm.
WCW logo. Oh man, probably giving you
You should get
ideas
into
and
cake decorating just so
yeah, no,
you can
exactly right. I
live
mean,
out your dream.
if I can't do it, maybe maybe you'll do it at some point. Maybe
I know everybody keeps telling me after the Hasbro cake, they're like, "You should do the Hell in the Cell." I'm like,
ooh,
I don't
that's a
even
good.
want to. I don't even want to think about making a fucking chain link fence
Oh
like
man, that'd be
edible.
awesome. Wow, that would take a lot of
I
time though.
already
Once
like
you think about
I
it.
can think of how like a couple methods of how to do it, but I'm like I'm just gonna put it off. I
Yeah,
don't even want to
because you're in
try it.
the yeah, you're in the vein where you have to have it like like you have to have exactly how it is, right? Is that like
Yeah,
is that your thing? Like you
exactly.
can't like you're not gonna like Mickey Mouse it as they say, and
Yeah,
kind of
because
make
like if people look at it and they're like, "Oh, that shit's fake as hell," like then it just defeats the whole purpose, you know?
yeah.
If
That
it's
is
like
very
even
true.
like if like something's like a centimeter off on my cake, you know, people will be able to tell.
You could do like a mankind, like a edible mankind, an edible Undertaker, and oh man, the Undertaker. I'm like the ideas are popping in my head. The Undertaker cross, the logo that he has, that'd be a cool cake
Oh,
as
I was
well.
thinking about doing the urn actually. That's on my
Ooh,
list of my to-do list of
ah,
cakes. Hmm.
wow, man,
Yeah. I hope no other
I'm
cake
excited.
decorators like end up watching this and
No,
stealing my
I mean you're
ideas.
the. I mean, I hope not. No, I mean, no, don't listen to this. Cut this part out if you're listening to it. I'll
Or just
do
don't
two
steal my
versions of
shit.
it. I'll do an edited version where you don't talk about it, and then I'll do a version where you do talk about it, and that'll be no, I'm joking. I won't do
No,
that.
it's cool. We can keep this as evidence. We'll keep this as evidence
That's
that this is
that is
my
true.
idea
It's
first.
out there. We have a date. We'll have a time stamped. We'll have it
Yep.
dated. All that stuff. That's
And if
absolutely
anybody ends up copying my stuff, then we can call them
perfect.
out on it.
No, we already talked about this is copyrighted tech a little
Yeah.
bit, I guess. But for the last question, I always end it with this. So the brand, your name, what does the future hold for Marge? Where do you see yourself uh down the line as far as your page, what you're doing? You don't have to get like I said, you don't have to give any secret future things that you're doing, but where do you see yourself going forward with the Marge brand down the line?
Um, well, I mean, like, after having my Instagram deleted and getting the cease and desist and stuff, like I had to
Yeah.
kind of take my brand in a different direction.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's already like started evolving, just like coming up with having to come up with super original ideas that
Yep.
don't involve like specific wrestlers. So, yeah, I've already had to overhaul that. Um, and so like trying to think. I started doing a lot of conventions,
Okay.
which I only started that last year because I'm trying to, sell a lot of that stuff online. So,
Yep.
yeah, I'm just trying to put my or sorry, stuff that I can't sell online. I'm trying to, sell in person. And yeah, just the conventions help my name get out there. So
Yep.
I'm gonna try to do a lot more of those. I did WrestleCade and WrestleCon. So WrestleCade was last year, and I think I'm gonna do it again this November. So there's that. Let me see. I do plan on coming out with like different new types of merch. Like, I
Okay.
obviously do pins. I started doing like stickers, tote bags, prints, shirts, obviously. But I want to branch out into more stuff, like maybe even jewelry and like, I don't know, temporary tattoos is something I'm working on right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, just trying to do new stuff. Let me see. I would love to do more designs for wrestlers merch. I've done like a few things for wrestlers in the past, and I just
Yeah.
haven't really made an attempt to do anything lately. But yeah, I would love to have wrestlers commission me for their merch. Would love to get a shirt on AEW shop eventually.
Yeah. That'd be
That's
great.
a big goal for me. Um, I would love to have wrestlers commission me for cakes. Like
Oh yeah, definitely.
everyone says Matt Cardona needs to order his birthday cake for me, and
Ooh.
I would love to.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
imagine me like being the fucking cake decorator behind the scenes at AEW for like
Oh
their
man,
5-year anniversary or
that'd be
something.
awesome.
I already did it for Raw 25. Like, call me up, guys.
Yeah, and that cake's amazing too as well.
Thank
That was
you.
another good one. Um,
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my name out there. I just have so many ideas and so little time, but
are you
yeah,
looking
the
at
brand
any
is only
more?
going to evolve. I'm sorry.
Are you looking at any more like TV appearances or show
Oh,
appearances, that type of stuff, or doing like your own show or and pitching it somewhere or anything like that?
oh God, no show of my own. I'm like, that's too much for me. But I do want to do more cake shows for sure. I've auditioned for a couple in the past year.
Awesome.
Yeah, don't know if anything's gonna turn out, but I'm totally open to it. Yeah, I would love to do more.
Would you consider doing a cookbook or anything like that?
um, it's something I've talked about. I mean, truth be told, I'm not as good of a baker as I am a
uh,
cake artist,
yeah,
but I have like a lot of wrestling desserts puns that I have
yeah,
written down. So I think a cookbook would come pretty easy to me. Yeah, I've already got a list. I don't want to give them away, but I've got a
yeah. No,
list.
no, don't do. We already gave away the cake stuff.
I know,
We
I
gotta keep
know.
everything. I'm not trying to get in trouble. I'm not trying to have you hate me or anything like that for getting stuff out there. So we're gonna
No,
keep
no,
it. We're gonna
no.
end it there.
I wouldn't blame you. Don't worry.
No, but yeah. Well, I think we'll end it here, and what I'm thankful for you for for considering being on the show. I mean, like I said, it was we I felt like we were I felt like we've been chatting for like a year. It seems like it was just going back and forth trying to get a date going, and we actually
Yeah.
got it done. And like I
And you
said, I'm
thought the
thankful.
date was last week.
Yeah, no, we both thought. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I messaged you. I was like, yeah, you ready for tomorrow? And you're like, I think it's next week. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right.
Sorry, we figured it
my,
out.
I get my days all mixed up all the time. So that
It's
was
all good.
that's just like a normal thing for me anyway. So I'm glad you were kind of like, no. And I was like, all right. At first I was like, all right. I thought I was like, all right, good. I have another week to kind of prepare and everything like that. But
Yeah,
no, like I
same. I was
said,
like, oh man, I hope he really has to. I hope he doesn't have to do it tomorrow. But
no,
no,
I was
thank
like,
you. I appreciate you reaching out. Flattered you wanted to talk to me. So
yeah,
thank you.
like I said, like I said, anyone that I like, not everybody that I follow because I follow like a million people, but people that I find interesting. And like I said, it's obviously wrestling is the main thing that brings everyone together for
Mhm.
I mean for me anyway, and anyone that I have on the show. Not anybody actually. Actually, you know what? Actually, obviously, a majority of people are wrestling in the wrestling world, some way or form. But I've had other people, and I've had Ninja Turtle collectors that I've interviewed. I've had horror people. Sassy Sledgehammer is one. She's she does like the Nightmare on Elm Street. She's a Fred Head. She was a part of it's like a
Mhm.
documentary, the Fred Head documentary and stuff like that. I had her. So and then I found out afterwards she was a wrestling fan. After we were done talking, I was
Oh,
like, "Why don't you bring that up
of
to
course.
me?"
I feel like that's like the secret glue holding us
Yeah,
all together.
and most people don't say that. Actually, most people don't say that they are wrestling fans until after the fact because you don't
Yeah.
people don't come out and say, "Hey, I watch wrestling." It's like you have to kind of pull it out of them, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
okay, all right."
exactly. I
Now I
know
can
it's
be
not
like,
something you just introduce yourself as a wrestling fan.
I mean nowadays, I mean especially with this past weekend with that Fanatics fest that
Mm.
they had, and knowing that the WWE wrestlers outsold for signings and stuff, everybody,
Yeah,
like the
it's crazy.
athletes, anyone that was in attendance. So I mean, wrestling's bigger than ever. So hop on board now because it's gonna get even bigger. But
Mhm.
we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna end it here. I'll let you go. And again, thank you for everything that you do. Thank you
No,
for
thank you.
thank you for your talents and bringing the wrestling community together. Actually, bringing everyone together with what you do. So I'd
Oh
like to
no,
thank you
Batman,
again.
I don't do none of that. But thank you. It was great speaking with you.
All right, and we'll end it here, and I'll talk to everybody soon. Peace.
Bye.